Hi, it's Richard Wade from Risk and Safety Compliance Services on Friday afternoon, and just thought I'd put my little wheel on and give it a few spins this afternoon as a different way of getting across a little bit of a health and safety message. You've heard of the Wheel of Fortune. Well, this is a similar version, but it's loaded with misfortune. I'm going to spin the wheel, and wherever it lands, I'll give you a few tips hot off the press, non-rehearsed, that might keep you and your people safe. These are particularly aimed at the agriculture, forestry and landed estate sectors, which is where I tend to spend most of my week doing safety auditing, training or consultancy work. So let's give him a spin and see what we get, and see first out the bag. Only going to be a couple of minutes long. Fires. So workplace fires. So think about that farm, think about landed estates, think about forestry. There's a real risk of fire, particularly in this hot weather. We've had a scorching couple of weeks, and so all the land is dry. We might have bales of straw and hay everywhere. Introduce into the mix hot vehicles, hot exhaust pipes, people who may smoke, broken glass in areas that can cause and trigger a fire. So we need good controls, particularly in a farm setting. It's a good idea to plan ahead for fires and have available water bowsers and suitable means to fight fires. So to control fires, make sure your people are trained and they know how to prevent a fire, but also make sure they know what to do in the event of emergency, the emergency first reaction locally, and also getting the fire brigade involved to limit the blaze as quickly as possible. Here we go on spin number 2. So that's fire safety dealt with. And as it whizzes around, people falling from height. Very simple to control falls from height. Kills people every year in our sector, farming and agriculture. And so we just need to plan ahead and do risk assessments and think about the people and think about the process itself. So make sure our people are trained, make sure they're competent and that they're not risk takers and that they've got the right equipment, and then plan the work at height correctly, making sure we've got a safe means of access and egress and a safe method of fall prevention. We might be using towers, scaffolds or fall arrest systems, whatever it might be. Get safe people and a safe means of access and getting down, and everybody goes home safe at the end of the day. Slips, trips and falls, well, very, very common in all workplaces, never mind just on farms, landed estates and agriculture. Good housekeeping, people wearing the correct footwear and making sure we put stuff away. We don't leave things lying around in the winter months, taking care of ice and snow and gritting where required, and training for people, make them aware of the dangers and arm them with the correct level of information so that they can keep safe at work. We've already had fire. Let's give him another one, shall we? Spin him again. I'm hoping one in particular comes up, and if it doesn't, I'm going to talk about it anyway because it's so relevant. People being injured by contact with moving parts of machinery, particularly power takeoffs on tractors and other items of equipment. Anything moving needs to be adequately guarded, and we need to make sure our people are trained and competent so they know not to step over a power takeoff or try and remove blockages while vehicles are still energized or in motion. So the simple basic techniques: keep people away from moving parts of machinery. Overhead power lines, again, every single year these will be struck by people operating high cab vehicles or using vehicles with booms or excavators or long reach JCBs, for example, and we need to plan ahead. We need to do a risk assessment. We need to check the area, make sure our staff are trained and ensure that they're never working within too close to an overhead power line. On my website there's loads of information about this in one of my newsletters, telling you how far away from a particular type of power line you need to be. But it's all about planning ahead, it's all about thinking about the risk. Make sure your people know what to do if they make contact with an overhead power line. So there's certain safe rules of staying in the vehicle if you can, but if you have, and calling the emergency services, or sometimes, for example, if the vehicle's on fire, they may need to get out, in which case they need to know the immediate action drill of not touching the sides of the vehicle and leaping as far away from the vehicle as possible, and then bunny hopping to a place of safety. So get people trained. Round she goes again. We'll just do a couple more just to end the week off. It seems to like landing on there, look. If this one doesn't land on asphyxiation, I'm going to talk about it anyway, because it's just right in the news at the moment. Oh my god, I don't believe it's going to. So we'll imagine that's asphyxiation in a moment. Quad bikes and ATVs, obviously a vital bit of kit in the industry, in our sector, but you know, a deadly weapon in the wrong hands. So common injuries include crushing when people roll the vehicles, particularly to the lower limbs, or people getting broken bones and suffering severe head injury, particularly if they haven't been wearing their safety helmet. So we need to make sure two things come into play: that we have safe people and safe equipment. On the people side, get them trained, make sure they're not risk takers, give them refresher toolbox talks where required, give them an appropriate helmet, make sure they wear it, don't allow people not to wear it. And then on the vehicle side, appropriate for the task, make sure they're well maintained and properly serviced. I want to mention asphyxiation now, actually. Let's see if it lands on it. If it doesn't, I'm going to tell you about it anyway, because it's not going to land on it. So there's just been two cases, two deaths in the last week or so, where two guys drowned after having become overcome with fumes in a sort of vat containing pig food. What a way to go. What happened is reckless regard for health and safety. They got done for gross negligence, manslaughter. People have gone to prison now. The poor lad, young lad, early 20s I believe, was told, get in there and clean that tank out, still full of half full of pig swill. In he went into this enclosed space, became overcome with fumes, went into the liquid and drowned. His oppo, thinking he could save him, then proceeded to go into the vessel as well, and obviously the same thing happened. He became overcome with fumes and he also drowned in foul stinking pig food. So confined spaces, we need to make sure our people are trained, but more importantly that our management and supervisors are aware of the dangers and have developed a safe system of work. We can't have people going into confined spaces unless we can guarantee 100% that they're going to be safe. We'll do two more. Let's hope we get two fresh ones. Working in and around cattle. Funnily enough, we do a weekly newsletter, and the one that went out this morning, it lands in your inbox at 10:15 every Friday. If you're interested, go across to www.rascs.co.uk, and on any of the pages on the website you can subscribe to that, or find me on LinkedIn, send me a direct message and I'll add you to the list myself. But this morning our newsletter was about a farmer who received a suspended prison sentence after an old man was killed on his land by cows while he was out walking. We'll do one more and then we'll wrap it up for the week. Oh, it didn't. Drowning, asphyxiation, very, very closely linked. If you've got any open sources of water, lagoons, ponds or anything like that on your land, ensure that they are suitably guarded and suitably signed, particularly to protect children and perhaps trespassers coming onto your land. So that's me. So that's your Friday afternoon spin of the Wheel of Misfortune. I hope you found it interesting. Get across to our website, loads of information on there. There's a newsletter that we put out every month and a news alert that we put out every week. Please go and subscribe and keep an eye out for those. Take care, have a safe weekend. Thank you.